900 modules per hour, guys. This is the fastest Marvel's Avengers upgrade modules farming method you can use right now, and this is what I've been testing over the weekend, as I've told you on my channel's community board. And as you can see, I have reached the maximum amount of upgrade modules we can carry in the game, which is 999 in 1 hour playtime. Nice, right? It sure is. And again, as I have promised you, I am ready to share this farming method with you, friends, because even though we will use the same strategy as in the previous video, I improved this method a lot. I also tracked down the problems you guys reported, and on top of that, I'm going to show you how to increase your chances in getting epic patterns. Good then, so based on your feedback and your help, I think we now have the best and fastest method to farm upgrade modules in Marvel's Avengers. I hope you guys enjoy it. Obviously, I'll answer all your questions as usual, and your support on this video is greatly appreciated. So let's go and start from the beginning. First of all, this method can be used online, but I strongly suggest you do it in single player mode because you'll need to do it fast, and the idea behind it is to avoid fighting. Simply put, a team of players will only slow you down, and you'll see in a couple of seconds why. This was an advice, but now here are two things that you should not do. First, you will not use this method if you gather those DNA keys without creating a backup save. If you have a lot of DNA keys, make sure you create a backup save. This is mandatory. Although I did not lose any DNA keys over the weekend, it's better to not risk them. Second, when using this method, you will never hit the reload checkpoint button. This will result in a total wipe of your DNA keys, period. If you want to restart the mission, you'll return to the Quinjet and start over, so the reload less checkpoint button is a big no-no for us. Third, if you get down 2 times, you will return to the Quinjet as well and start over. Although this is quite hard if you follow this video and the path I'm going to show you, accidents can happen, and if they happen 3 times in a row, the game will send you to the starting point, and this is basically equal to a restart, which again will result in a total wipe of your Marvel's Avengers DNA keys. And fourth, I suggest you try this method while having 2 DNA keys in your inventory. This way, if you get downed or press the reload less checkpoint button by accident, you'll only lose 2 keys. Now, you already know from the previous video that the DNA keys come from the villain sector, so we will not go over them again. We also have a farming method that still works, and we have discussed it as well in the past. So next we are going to talk about Iron Man, because he is the character we will use. He is mandatory for this upgrade modules fast farm, and we will go over the skills I suggest activating because I made several modifications. First, the heroic takedown should still be activated in case things go wrong, and by wrong I mean your Hulkbuster doesn't recharge by the time you reach the next DNA chest. If this happens, this ability allows you to get a heroic orb by performing a takedown, thus you'll be able to use the Hulkbuster faster. It is not mandatory though, and you'll see why. The Hyper Coil skills is required though because it increases the Hulkbuster time by 10 seconds, and those seconds are really important. Again, you'll see why when we start farming. The energy condenser, just like the heroic takedown, is not mandatory, but it is a safety net in case again we need heroic orbs. And finally, I have decided to also use the afterburner in order to improve the time on this fast farming method, and this one is a lifesaver. Moving to the gear, your equipment is not important for this method, and although some state that you should use the Darkhold, I've been doing this with my old Tactigon. But what I have changed are the minor artifacts. As such, I suggest using 2 Norn Stone of Endless Bounty artifacts, as they will drastically improve your chances to get epic patterns. If you don't have them, don't worry, because they usually drop from the last DNA chest you'll farm if you follow my video. Good, so let's move to the location, because until now I wasn't sure if the Snowy Tundra Vault is the best location to get upgrade modules fast. Well, after doing, as I said, a lot of tests on all vault missions, now I can tell you that hands down this is the best area. So the next question is if you should play the Elite Tundra Vault or the normal Snowy Tundra Vault. Just to clarify this, if you are into farming upgrade modules only, you should know that this is not important, since you'll get the same amount because the difference is made by the difficulty level. This means that depending on your Iron Man's level, you may want to start with the normal Tundra Vault, then move to the Elite Tundra Vault. What makes this farming spot and method so special is that you can play the challenge 4 even if you are a lot of levels below it. Why? Because I'll show you how to avoid any fight. Rarely you'll have to deal with the aim forces, so the moment you can access the highest difficulty level, you should try it. Or start at a lower level, then use the upgrade modules you farm to quickly upgrade your Ironman's gear, so you can eventually reach the Elite Tundra Vault Challenge 4, where you have the best chances to get patterns. Good, so remember that on Challenge 1 you get 5 upgrade modules per DNA chest, on Challenge 2 and 3 you get 10 modules per DNA chest, and on Challenge 4 you'll get 15 modules per DNA chest. Since we have 4 DNA chests in this mission, it means that we can get 60 modules per run, and my record was 4 minutes per run without counting the loading screens. So basically this equals 900 modules per hour without loading screens, although we will get in fact 63 upgrade modules per run. And the idea behind this farming method is extremely easy: to follow a specific path and fly from one chest to another and open it while inside the Hulkbuster, because of the glitch that allows us to open these DNA chests without using any key. But there is more than that, because our Hulkbuster needs to recharge between chests, and since we are not fighting, we need to save the energy. So let's start and we will go over all possible scenarios. When you start the mission, you will use the Afterburner skill to increase your speed and reach the front gate. Ignore all enemies below and head to the platform on the left side. You may want to dodge their projectiles, but the good thing is that they will never follow you up on that platform. Here we have 3 scenarios. The DNA chest is in front of the air vent, but it can also spawn behind it or close to some crates. What you want to do is to find it, then while staying in front of it, you want to deploy your Hulkbuster. By the time you are fully inside the Hulkbuster, you should already press square on your PlayStation 4 controller to open the chest, then immediately press L1 to get out of it. This will help you save the Hulkbuster's energy, so you will be inside only a couple of seconds just while opening the chest. Do note that there is another chest you can open on this platform, and you should do that because you'll get units from it and you will only waste several seconds. Good, so the first chest is done, and from this location you'll fly to the other side of the map. On your way, try to fly as high as possible and equip your lasers. Also, don't forget to boost your flying speed using the Afterburner and dodge the incoming projectiles if needed. After you pass the Inhuman hostage, you may want to boost your speed one more time, then stop using the Afterburner, and when you enter the small area where the aim gate is located, aim your lasers at the turrets. It is not mandatory, but again we want to play safe. The DNA chest is on top of the balcony, and again you'll drop the Hulkbuster on top of it, open the chest while inside, then quickly exit the Hulkbuster and fly away. Totally ignore the mobs and use the Afterburner while flying as high as possible. Now, when you get close to the cage with a prisoner, head right to go around it and stay close to the mountain, then take a sharp right turn and keep boosting your speed whenever you can. Your goal is to reach the tall tower behind the antenna as fast as possible. Here we have 2 scenarios again. The DNA chest can be located on the lower floor, and this is the best case scenario because you land on top of it, deploy the Hulkbuster, which is already recharged since we saved the energy. So basically all you have to do is to redeploy it, open the chest, exit the Hulkbuster, and then fly away. The second scenario is a bit more complicated because the chest can be on the last floor, so you will have to fly inside the tower and then exit on the said floor. The good thing is that you can lure the aim units and go around. You can also use the arc overload to stun them, then quickly deploy the Hulkbuster in front of the chest, open it, exit the Hulkbuster, and then if you want, you can open the second chest nearby. What you should know is that when you deploy the Hulkbuster, Iron Man can't take damage and he can't be interrupted, which is really nice in this location because you are basically invulnerable. Now that you got 45 modules, quickly head outside the tower and head right again, flying as high as possible and boosting your speed as much as you can in order to save time. The final chest is inside the building that requires you to solve a puzzle. And here we have 3 scenarios, so things will get a bit complicated. The first scenario is the best one, when you only have to shoot 4 switches. 2 of them will be in front of you, close to the roof, and you'll be able to instantly shoot them with your lasers, then go left around the building and shoot the other 2. By the time you do this, the enemies will still be confused, and all you have to do is to go around the building, quickly loot the gold chest, then deploy the Hulkbuster on top of the DNA chest. The second scenario requires you to step on some platforms to open the door. In this case, you'll land on the one located on the roof, then turn around and jump on the one on the left side, then hop over the small fence to the third one, then quickly fly over to the last one near the crates. Remember that the idea is to confuse the enemies, not fight them. When the door opens, head inside, grab the golden chest, then the DNA chest using the Hulkbuster. And finally, the third scenario is also really easy, but you'll need to move fast. Here, you'll have to hit 4 switches with your melee attacks. When you get close to the base, head towards the one on the left side and smash it. Then you'll see the enemies getting close to you. Use the arc overload and go left around the building to quickly smash the remaining panels, then keep going around until you reach the door. Inside again, get the gold chest, deploy the Hulkbuster, open the DNA strongbox, then exit the Hulkbuster and fly away. And these are all 3 possible scenarios. However, before you return to the Quinjet and repeat them, make sure you exit the Hulkbuster. Again, this is mandatory, and remember to never reload the last checkpoint. And that's it, you got 63 DNA keys in just 5 minutes or less. Now, before we wrap this one up, let me tell you that this method to fast farm upgrade modules in Marvel's Avengers may require a bit of practice, but the idea is to do it as fast as possible, and a team of human players will drastically slow you down, so try it alone. Also, conserving your Hulkbuster's energy is the key here, as well as following the path I have shown you. And finally, if you don't have the time to use it until the next Marvel's Avengers patch, which will most likely fix it, go offline and install the patch that will probably release this Thursday, I think, only after you have 999 upgrade modules. Either way, I'll keep you updated on what farming methods still work after the next patch, and obviously I'll work on finding new ones. So do let me know what you think about this one, guys, and until next time, stay safe and have a beautiful week.